It's the Summer and Karen Show. Yeah.
No. It's official. The Ladies Love Hip Hop show will start now. Hello, and welcome to the Ladies Love Hip Hop podcast. I'm your girl, Summer Willow.
And this is Karen.
And we are the ladies who love hip hop.
Ow!
Karen, your vocals sound really good today. I just wanted to tell you.
Yeah, I've been singing a lot, practicing a lot. And,
I like
but
it.
ain't nobody still call me.
We know.
Trying to sign a sister.
I got some business cards for you to use.
Oh, thank you.
We also have G-Town Mook in the studio today.
You already know. Get with the shits.
Oh man, look, I gotta cut you down. You with it. So what's going on, ladies?
Nothing. How are you?
I'm good. Just hanging out, on a very fall-like Sunday.
Yeah.
Very full.
It's officially fall, y'all. No, I mean, listen.
Too soon.
I know.
At this
I like
point,
being half naked and the sun burning on the top of my forehead.
Parasol drinks.
those times are over. I just need you to know.
It's gonna be Christmas before
Yeah,
you know it.
it's pretty much fall. I have on a long sweater, boots. I feel good. This is my favorite time of year.
So you the one called it in?
Yeah, I called it in.
What?
Look, anyway. So once we get situated, I want you, Karen, to tell everybody about what's coming up for you and I. Do you remember? Think hard.
Ooh, 1 year.
1 year.
It's our anniversary.
You know?
What? A day for you and you and me.
It's our anniversry.
Yeah.
I just remembered that on the way here, by the way. I shows you how serious it is.
Let's give it up for the ladies.
Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Okay.
But to all the listeners out there, make sure you lock into Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Ladies Love Hip Hop. That's LUV. You can also find us on YouTube on our YouTube channel. That's Ladies Love, one word, hip hop, the second word. You can also email us if necessary. Please stop sending us your demos. We're not fucking PR agents or anything like that.
Knocking on my door
And I'm
saying,
not
hey,
sure if
yo.
you really want to hear what I have to say to some of you, and I'm just being honest. No diss, but that's not our job. You know what I mean?
We just here to show people what's going on.
But thank you, and I will give you feedback, and I hope we're friends when it's over. But the email address is ladieslovehiphop, but that's LADIESLOVE1 hip hop 1. I'm sorry, at gmail.com. All right. Anything else?
No.
Karen, you good?
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Mook, you good?
Let's do it.
All right, rock out, Karen.
All right, guys. So she is considered one of the most influential MCs of our time, whose reach is global till this day. Today's Ladies Love Hip Hop guest is a Philly hometown heroine, the people's champ, a lyricist, writer, and legend in the music industry. She has made a name and a lane for herself that is synonymous with quality over BS. Releasing her debut and critically acclaimed album, Collage, in 1996, and subsequent albums after. Our guest has performed and collaborated with luminaries such as Guru, The Roots, Jeru the Damager, DJ Premier, and so many music vets.
Yes.
We are so excited to have her on our show today. Ow. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the queen, Bahamadia, y'all.
Oh, wow. Absolutely.
Oh, my God. What's going on?
Wonderful to have you.
Nice
Did you enjoy my prison reading skills?
Yeah.
You don't have to lie to her about it.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
All right, just chilling.
Good to have you.
Finally.
We're blessed. Absolutely. No time like the present. Perfect timing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So let's just get all the fandom out.
I'm sorry. I can't sit still. Like, I'm trying to...
we are such fans. Well, I never met you, and it's just really an honor to meet you in person. Heard your music for years and years and years, and really respect it and respect you.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you.
Karen.
Same here. I actually met you twice, right? And we'll get into that a little later. But I met you last year at the Kindred Presents.
which was awesome. I had a nice time.
Yeah. So I, learned a lot about your, what was going on with you and everything. So that's why, I kind of, ran up on you at the end. And was like, why don't you come and be on our show? So, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you for being here. So let's jump right into this interview. First things first, Karen, your question?
All right. So, Bahamadia, now, even though we are, fans of your music and everything, when I was talking to someone, I was like, I realized that I don't know the genesis of you. I don't know how you got started. So one question that we do ask all of our guests is which is Negro geography. You're a Philly native, so what part of Philly do you hail from? And then talk about your journey within hip hop, and how did you know that you were a just that you could rhyme, you was the bomb diggity.
Rip your face off.
Well, first my family. I started out in North Philly. We had a family home, 16th and Berks. That's where I originated from.
Okay.
Well, my family's from Atlanta and Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Migrated up here, and then in North Philly for a stint, then moved to University City down the bottom. People for the gentrification people in University City and Mantua, whatever they renamed it these
Right,
days.
everyone call it
So
today.
yeah, so I grew up there on the bottom. I was exposed to hip hop through like pause tapes, cassette mixtapes with just the beats and the cold crush routines and all that stuff, traditional hip hop. Then the block parties and the Lady B events at the whole Philadelphia Hotel. I was the young buck that was the fan.
Yeah.
That was there when all these people, when hip hop was forming and taking place, and all the records was getting broken at the original At the Midnight from that era on up. So that's my influence right there.
So can I just stop you for a second? At that point, when you were a fan, were you rhyming?
Well, I studied percussion at Sediment House of Music for a stint before my parents got divorced and all of that.
Okay.
And then I was a
Put
DJ.
that mic up.
And then then I was a DJ, from there. And then my first little crew, West Philly Sound Crew, was just some friends in my neighborhood or whatever.
Okay.
And I wanted to start, like, I always was into poetry and stuff like that. So, but we wanted to have MCs included into our little routine for the little playground battles and stuff like the rec center battles and stuff like that. And so I was writing all the routines, but we couldn't get anybody to commit to coming to practice and stuff like that. So since I knew them, I wound up, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So I wound up, since I wrote them out, of course, obviously I memorized them. That turned into me wound up having to do them. So then, fast forward a few years down the line, I'm now, this one Winemakers used to have a Gucci shop on 13th Street.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, that was the first, like, that was when the first low cut Gucci's and all that was out. This how long ago
The timeline.
and the first what's the name of the joint was in the 80s. I can't remember the timeline, but I know it was early 80s, mid 80s probably. Yeah, because you didn't have to go to Atlantic City to get the a Gucci's yet.
Really?
Wow.
Put me on
Because that's all I knew about.
Yeah, that's all I
Started
knew
that
about was the Bally's in
And
Atlantic
Philly
City.
started that trend too.
Oh, word?
Okay.
You heard it
He
here.
started many trends. Many trends.
But during that time, what was the name of that? It used to be a little urban boutique. Everybody used to get their like designer Jordache and all when that was popping.
Where is it?
On Market Street?
City Blue, the first
Oh,
city,
City-
the original City Blue.
Okay.
Oh, that was
That
original
was
on
on
Market
that
Street?
time.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really on 13th and Market.
Word.
And all the jewelry stores and all that.
Oh
back
yes,
then.
that was like the jewelry mecca.
It was a jewelry.
That
mecca.
area
All the
right there.
hustlers and everybody used to hang down here.
And
But
electronics.
Exactly. I knew a lot of people in the streets, from graffiti culture and stuff like that too.
Okay.
Because my sister and I was popular for like our fashion sense and stuff like that. But I was always a loner. But you know how you the person that everybody know, like your reputation precedes you, but you don't know them, but they think they know you just because you say their name and all that. I don't even know that you're
like,
popular.
hey.
Yeah, you don't even know you're popular until late years down the thing. It was that like
Okay.
that.
Oh, okay.
So, that's how that kind of happened. And then I lost my train of thought.
So 13th Street, you down there, people calling your name, you fly, they see you shopping.
Right.
You started rapping on the playground.
Oh no. From the routine stuff, fast forward. I'm down 13th Street running to an old high school friend that was in my arts class. And his name was Mo Rock. He used to put out like little 12-inch singles and stuff like that, regional single out.
Yeah.
Me and him went to high school together. He
Okay.
was the first person that believed in my talent as an MC, because he knew that I DJ, but he also knew that I rhymed.
Oh, okay.
But nobody really didn't know that outside of my family, particularly my mom. So I ran into him and he asked me like, you still, what you doing now? You still DJ? I'm like, no, I'm ready. He's like, so you really getting this? I was like, yeah. So he invited me to a studio session up Southwest Philly in this little studio called Bird Nest Productions.
Okay.
54th and it was on 54th and Catherine.
Okay.
It's a historical little basement thing. Like Steady B used to go there. KRS-One, the Goodman people, everybody would come through there and like either do like pre-production, because the in-house producer there was real like prolific with drumming and stuff like that. Charlie Pridgeon.
Yes. Okay.
And Bird's Nest. So Boys the Men, Grand Dragon KD from that was Steady B. I think that was his second DJ, right? Because Tap was the first one. Steady Grand Dragon KD. Mo Rock and Live, that was his name. His real name Torrance, but they used to call him Lively. Anyway, he had to sing a while back then too. We all honed our chops there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Me and Boys the Men got our deal offers at the same time, so we left the production. I was there for like 4 or 5 years, honed my skills there.
Wow.
Around what time is this?
This was like this had to be like around about 87, 88.
Okay.
Something like around that time.
Okay.
Okay.
Mix.
By then I was full blown writing and stuff. I wasn't even DJing no more. But my ear, like I knew how to kind of like put songs in a chronological order that create a mood and a vibe from my drumming and from my DJing, because you controlling tempos and stuff like that and emotion when you DJing. That's the science of that.
Absolutely.
So that's how I, and plus I used to be in the limelight. All the different clubs and stuff like that. Back then,
here
back in
rocking.
90s club days and stuff.
Gotta shake all that history right out you.
All of that. So all those days that now, all them type of days, some mixture of stuff. And then going to DC, New York, you know what I mean? Traveling in between those places just to party and hear the DJs and stuff. But I was in the house music too. That's why my tempos was always, that's how I actually started. I developed my cadence in my pocket from rhyming over house
What
tracks.
is that BPM? What is that? What is that?
Like
the
122.
standard? 120? Okay.
User standards usually like around 122.
122? Okay.
I wanted to ask a guest about the house scene in Philadelphia. Like, I always loved house music, even as a child. Like Crystal Waters, I was like 7 when that song came out. And I always loved house music, and I gravitated toward it. So I never really got to ask a guest about Philadelphia's house scene, or who started it, or who was in it, or what songs came out.
No, King Britt, it was a lot of different people. God, I can't even recall all the different names. Victor Duplay, but even before that, like I can't rattle off any names right now, because I was, like I said, I was a fan of the culture at that time and actively in the scene, but still out the way though, but was just there. One of them people, like I said, that everybody knew their face.
You're pretty much.
Exactly. But I know this one, because King Britt, he was the first person that introduced me to this club called the Black Banana. But that was more progressive. That was a more progressive type of style. Like, I want to say the frequency was a little bit different than, it was a soulful element, but more electronic and stoic in the sound.
Okay. Was that your sound of choice?
That's what I just gravitated towards vibrationally.
Okay.
And because to me, like I always saw hip hop and electronic music as being one genre.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it got compartmentalized as the corporations got involved and started to have to label it to market it. But before, anything that was anti-establishment, anti-commercial was considered hip hop music, because it was against what was against the establishment.
And you know what? We were talking about that. I can't remember who I was talking about this with, but just the idea that Scheme Richards, just talking about the idea that because the establishment wanted to package this music and all kinds of music, from house music to hip hop or whatever, how you want to call it, it was all underground hip hop music, but they wanted to sell it. You're starting to tour and go into other countries, and you're like, well, what's coming to town? And you had to put a label on it, so to speak. And I know a lot of people that we interview felt like, not that they lost their place or at all, but there was a lot of merging of sounds. But because it was categorized by, those who were selling it, that people kind of shied away from different sounds because it was so in a box. You know what I mean? Like house music, for example, it was intertwined throughout so many different genres of music, like hip hop, house,
gospel.
Wait a
Right,
minute,
gospel.
Was you on the
Gospel.
show, that hip hop, no, the house show that we had, that dance show that we had in Philly?
No, I missed that era. I mean, I knew
Okay.
people that was
I know
a part
what
of
you're talking
Dancing on Air and all
Not
that.
dancing on there, the
it
next
was,
one.
um,
Oh my God, what was
I'm
it
like, hold on,
called?
what?
No, I wasn't never on.
Because I
none.
remember I had a crush on this guy named Donut. He was a fan favorite on that show.
If you listen
No.
to Donut,
Karen said, "What's up?"
But no, you weren't on that, huh? No, okay. All right.
Again, I was one of them type of people. I was a loner, so I always kind of like stayed out the way in the radar. I really didn't like all that, you know.
Okay.
my
So you
whole-
wasn't popping and locking or nothing, not.
I danced and stuff like
Okay,
that, but
okay.
just not to the degree of being on a show and none of that. But I knew people or knew of people and loosely associated with people that was in that scene.
Okay.
so back to your story. So you get signed, same time as Boys and Men.
Now, did you
No.
want to be signed though? That's the thing. What were you going for?
Well, anybody that's once you dedicate and commit yourself to honing your skills to get it to a certain professional level, then you're a professional. That's your goal. So I was never in denial about saying that I didn't want to be successful or saying that this wasn't going to be a career choice or path for me
Okay.
as a professional recording artist and writer. My thing is, though, I wasn't willing to compromise my integrity and all the things that went along with
That's about it.
and all the things that went along with, that's industry standard
Yeah.
practices. I knew from the gate, because of factory equipment, my sensibilities and morals and stuff, I was always anti-establishment.
Right.
But that was bred in me from home and a calling card of us as Philadelphians. Like we just known to just go
Yeah,
against the grain. It's just
absolutely.
innate with us. It's
Yeah.
not even like a choice. You just
No.
that's just what we
It's
do.
like, no, man.
We like we the standard
doing
as far
our
as
own
that's
thing.
concerned. Globally, everybody knows like the standard is set here. You know, for the arts and everything.
Especially the art.
Absolutely.
Yeah, any form of it is like if you look historically at anybody that's had a world-changing effect on culture, artistically, they all honed their chops in Philly at some point. They all lived
That is
here.
a
They were
reoccurring
all.
theme.
Yep.
They were all, and that's historically.
Jasmine.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But our
From
podcast,
old to
that's a
new, though,
recurring
you know what I
theme
mean?
that you said that all of our podcasts, someone has mentioned that Philly is the standard. You know, Philly is where
It's a tough
people,
crowd. We don't play that. We will tell you,
Yeah,
like,
a lot
no,
of
we
people
ain't
get
messing with it. Yep.
But then I'm finding
Food
out
up
like
there, you
with
ain't killing
I think it was Scheme, right?
Probably.
Telling us that Ghostface and Raekwon was
used to live
chilling in
here.
the bottoms.
Oh, what's this?
used to come through.
Inspector Deck lived out here for a while on the low. A lot of people didn't. Rampage lived out here for a while too.
Old Dirty
You
did
know
too.
what? See, we're knocking on
But
you.
if you in the community, MC like
Absolutely.
You would know
MCs,
that.
MCs, you know that because you
Right.
break bread with the real people.
Absolutely.
So because it's a culture, like that's
Right.
what I'm saying. Like that's why people, it's like what's the word? I'm gonna say mysterious for lack of a better term. But you said it yourself. Like a lot of people couldn't really pinpoint who I am artistically. It's fragmented. Which is kind of, that's an indicator to me that it's a good thing because it's multifaceted. That means that I'm different things to different people. But
Absolutely.
at this point in my life, I feel like I should articulate exactly who I am artistically as a woman, as an entrepreneur, as a Philadelphian, mom, whatever. You know what I mean? I think that it's my turn to do, I should be doing it at this point in my life. Before I wasn't that focused on it because it really didn't matter how people processed it, as long as the reoccurring thing has always been associated with my legacy has always been the level of my skill set.
Yeah.
Not to revel in it, but you should have a conscious awareness of who you are in terms of that. So that's the thing that I always pay attention to somewhat.
Make sure you grab that mic, Bahamadia.
I'm sorry. That's the thing that I paid attention to somewhat, not because I wanted to revel in the so-called legacy of it or the legend of it, but because I had a standard to adhere to. You know what I mean? And it was a level of like an accountability tool.
Your voice is so
Velvety smooth.
You heard me get ratchet before.
I did.
listen. That voice though, I mean,
It comes up when it needs to.
Yeah.
I put you in a category in my mind with a Chuck D. Not because of the same sound, but because of the distinct sound. Like
You know
Chuck
that's
D,
Bahamadia.
and I said this to Lady B. She's in the category too. Lady B can't call and phone prank me. She can't. She can't say this Keisha, this Janice. She can't do none of that.
Tried it. We were just like this.
Chuck D can't do it neither.
And speaking of Lady B too, Lady B and Mimi Browne, they were two people, particularly Lady B, in terms of embracing the feminine aspects and qualities and timbres of our tones and textures and
Yes.
speaking. She was somebody that I don't want to say I was heavily influenced by her in the way she utilized her voice.
Yes.
She understood. She's very aware of the impact and the power of her voice and how to release it. And it's like playing an instrument. So though that was I always, and then too when I was exposed to what I understood being inspired by somebody is that you do your own authentic interpretation of the thing that resonated most within you, not emulated.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So when everybody go through things when you, especially for you honing your skills or whatever, you look and you got your standards that you look up to, and once you start getting and you can sing it like they sing it and everything, you putting your spin on it now.
Absolutely.
Right.
When that influence has disappeared, your that's when you found your authentic voice. So I knew that. But she was somebody to this day, like I always tell people, like, yeah, she was the first, even with like a 12-inch release or whatever, it's how never celebrated that much the way it should be globally.
We gotta change that, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but she was like the first, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was the first
first on
solo,
wax.
the first solo female, and in the history of hip hop, as far as artists being signed, and we got the most Philadelphians had the most women MCs in the history of hip hop that's ever had deals.
It's
as
still
solo
going on.
artists.
Wow.
What?
As solo artists, this
heard
is
it
things that I keep a touch of, in touch with these stats because it's important to me because I'm a part of the community and the fabric of it.
Absolutely.
And
You
I'm
know.
proud of Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly. Everywhere I go.
You raised a point. We were talking to Tracy Lee about the mood and the attitude of Philadelphians around their hip hop, and how I said I feel like Philly hip hop has low self-esteem. And I said that from a place of love because I also said if they knew the history and the standards that we set and the trajectory of Philly artists,
Right.
they would sing a different tune about Philly artists. And we have to celebrate our heroes and the people that made a name for themselves, that broke stereotypes, that just really broke out. And we broke out well before and in the same mix with New York.
Yep.
So it's like we got to know our history so we can say it with our chest a little bit better, because it seems like it's
They
a
don't
sprinkle.
recognize- yeah.
I feel like a lot of people feel like it's a sprinkle of talent coming out of Philly. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna say the roots, you're gonna say Bahamadia, but there's so much.
We have
It's so much.
world quality MCs here. Like
Absolutely.
We do, but then
and
part of me
musicians.
often wonders is the problem, the fact that, and I think I remember hearing you touch on this, Bahamadia, about the difference between other entertainment genres is the fact that hip hop started off as a youth-driven culture, and part of me sometimes wonder, is it because it's a youth-driven culture and youth can be a lot of finicky sometimes. Sometimes I wonder, like, is that part of the reason why Philly can be so indifferent and so ambivalent to this culture? Like,
I think it's propaganda. I think it's partly that, in terms of like the youth culture, I perceive it as being the spirit.
Yeah.
Alive is associated with youth. It's associated with, just youth. You know what I mean? But you can still be young at heart and you can still chronologically like feel a certain way that transcends time. So in that point, in that aspect, yes, youth culture. It was the whole focus was youth oriented from the spiritual context though.
Right.
You know what I mean? As far as industry, I just feel like, we have never gotten historically. We have never our story and our contribution to the world music scene as far as hip hop culture is concerned has never been documented.
That's what I'm talking
effectively. But I think that's because gatekeepers maybe. I think that's why I said was it propaganda, because we haven't had any type of real support industry wise except for them coming and taking the talent.
Right.
And transporting me too. I even fall under that because I didn't get my deal or hone my chops outside of the studio. I got my deal in New York.
Right.
Got it.
I didn't get, but I just feel like that's what it is. You know what I mean? I don't know if they had something to do with whatever happened business wise between the Gamble, the Philly International era.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think after that era, we didn't have any
industry.
Yeah, we didn't have any
And the record
industry.
companies,
You know,
no big voices
so
to
that's
get people's-
maybe it was a dark cloud. I'm sorry for cutting.
No,
you.
I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Maybe it was a dark cloud or some. I want to say dark cloud because that's negative. Maybe it was like some type of stigma that was associated with
Philly and just doing business with Philly. And
or it could be a matter of time too. You know, it could be just that all those things had to come to pass globally for us to finally get out. You know, because things happen and it's seasonal.
Then I think about the resistance to hip hop too, which is what we love talking to Lady B about, right? And if you remember when we were all coming up, we were in love with it, right? But the powers that be, which was the Jones generation and baby boomers, they were highly resistant to hip hop. So it wasn't being played as often. It was like we had to basically wait until 12 at midnight, you know, and put the tape on to hear who was all on the radio. And sometimes I wonder with Philly, you know, Philly was primarily dominated by the baby boomer, you know, the Wilson Goods and all of them. And they really didn't like. Remember,
they shat on it.
Yeah, I remember Patty Jackson specifically saying on WJS, "This is a hip hop free radio station."
Like,
But see,
damn.
Lady B was my Patty Jackson, so I wasn't. None of that stuff was really relevant to somebody as I'm talking from a fan standpoint. I only cared about
Who was giving it to you?
who was representative of my voice and where I fit in. I never was concerned about none of the other stuff. When I wanted to hear, you know, traditional R&B or whatever I wanted to listen to, I could hear that when my mom and them turned the radio on to play their record selection that I was heavily influenced by, that I did my interpretation of what that was, which is hip hop to us.
Right.
It's just an extension of that, you know, whatever rock and roll was to them or whatever anti-movement spawned out of their generation was to them, because everybody was young at some point chronologically, and I'm sure their elders preceding them felt the same way.
Oh yeah.
It's just that I feel like our generation, a generation of people that that were there at the spearhead of the culture being developed and the movement, you know, transpiring. I think that we're the liaisons in between the youth culture of that time and the generation that we know, our grandmoms or whoever before us.
Yeah.
And because we know how to translate that both those energies.
How about that?
You know what I mean? When you really think about it, it's just that, and going back to what you're saying about the us being celebrated, I think that the liaisons that was that is positioned to be gatekeepers, a lot of us have been self-serving, and we haven't understood the magnitude of our decision-making process when it comes to the future collective. This is what I've assessed, because I don't see it like it's no reason why, even today, it's no reason why people, you know, I'm around.
Yes.
I've never been on no Starr shit. Like you might see me on the train, you might see me in my little car, whatever I'm doing. You might see me dialed up, you might see me playing. You didn't see me. You see me.
In the mix.
I'm never hiding. I'm always me. I never
Right.
was like that. I was always myself. So it's no reason, and I'm accessible. So it's no reason why we shouldn't be networking. It's no reason why if I call you, and you know, you coming up the ladder, some people coming up, some people coming down, but there's no reason why I shouldn't reach out to you with the simple fact of my legacy and the work that's put in and I'm consistently doing, and you not return my fucking phone call.
Hello.
Why you not returning my phone call?
Exactly.
But you follow me, you shed on me on social media. And if I say something, I study social engineering too. So I'm seeing that I know it's a marketing tool, but it's like a test too. Like I'm gonna post something up, let me see what's gonna happen. And then you using that for your whole marketing plan, and you don't want to cut me no check, and you in the position to do that.
Right.
When I say me, I'm talking about artists that are not, their business acumen is not acute enough to maximize the legacy that they've had. I've been afforded that because I done been around the world like 3 times at my leisure.
Right.
And I haven't had anything out, you know. I'm saying that to say that anybody that's listening, I just hope they get inspired, especially with the internet as a tool, to get inspired to gravitate towards the people that's supporting you.
Yeah.
It could be big or small, like this platform. We had a little miscommunication with just the texting and the whole shit. It's a lot for me.
Right.
It's a lot for me. And then juggling, being a little transparent, like juggling, you know, the responsibility of being self-managed. Well, I got a manager now, but shout out to DJ Eclipse.
Completely independent on your own.
Yeah, on my own.
Right,
and all
right.
that.
Shout.
So imagine coming from, you know, a corporate cog where they done spent millions of dollars to break you. I'm now a commodity. That never goes away. I could see it feel like prey, like I'm near, and people that's in that lane now because they can use the social media is chipping away at your legacy. Everybody taking parts of you and maximizing and exploiting you except for you.
Right.
Wow.
That's what that's like, being alive and seeing it. So if I've seen that and just the
Grab that mic, Bahamadia.
just the glimpses of success, if you want to call it that. You know, I feel like I'm always going to be a student of the game and you know, just industry and transitioning from industrial to information, you know what I mean, age. So, you know, sorting all of that out and, you know, learning the language of what we're doing now and the dynamic of that. But people that came out, even, I don't know, the people that came out before me, I know they probably just... But imagine the people that now, like, unless that's where the youth culture comes in there.
Yeah.
This dynamic right here is so dope. Like, you got different generations or you know, an extension, because she the voice, you know, y'all, you got to connect with that.
Yeah.
Right.
We got to see each other as resources. So I know that too. So, you know, the
And you've
trial
been
and
in
error,
the
and I've been in it
forever.
for a long time.
And you can give a younger troop coming up.
And vice versa, they
Yeah.
giving me something
Yeah,
too.
let you know what's going on.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
absolutely.
about language. You know what I mean? So and communicating, you know. But you honor your teachers though.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Like, don't act like you
Came out of nowhere.
Like I can't, like
You
yeah.
invented rap.
Or yeah, exactly.
You did not.
Or you taking, or you, and instead of it, like, it could be like an apprenticeship. Like, we don't even have those no more. Like, what happened to having an apprenticeship or taking somebody on your wing as a mentor, mentee?
People used to
mentor?
want that. People used to want it. I
Not
think
now.
a lot of things have changed. I mean, we've even talked about the change in the club scene. How, you know, everybody's like this,
On their
and
phone.
you know, they're not listening
They
to
don't
the
even
great
interact.
music that's playing.
Right.
You know, catching some eyes, getting some numbers. You ain't getting no numbers. Like, what are you doing? Or you might be getting numbers. How you getting numbers? You ain't even had no conversation. Like, it's really times have changed, so we do have to try to meet people. You know,
Where they
that's
are.
life. You got to meet people where they are, and then if you have something to give to them and share, you share it with them and bring them with you if they want to go. You know, but I think that social media is a great platform for us to connect the dots.
To connect, because you see something in real, like, meet people. That's the key right there. You have to meet people in real time.
Yes.
You can't do everything on the inbox and all that.
Absolutely.
Like, that's after you done met them in real time. Eye language, you know, body language,
Yeah,
the eye
exactly.
contact and all that. You could be a whole weirdo, and I don't know what you doing.
I gotta meet you personally
Yeah,
first
you
to
are
get the
shifting your
vibe.
body,
Exactly.
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Can't just be showing up.
That's what it is, and then that's supposed to, you know. So it needs to be it needs to be a protocol.
Right.
Look, Queen, people having relationships through the DM. So I mean,
Yeah,
come
I
on.
know.
People like getting together and just having all kinds
Just
of everything.
hooking up.
Yeah.
You could, but you know what? You can meet the other side of that though. The pro side of that is you can meet some really cool people.
Truth.
You know what I mean? It depends on what type of energy you project and what you there, and people can see that by what you posting.
Right.
Even if you try to put up that phony facade, if
As
you
soon as you get in the DM, be like, so show me a picture
Right,
of candy.
exactly.
You can just tell.
Like,
you
what?
can sense it after
I'm a
while.
vegan, but I ain't vegan.
Can't you sense that after a
Like I
while?
said, I can get it through technical and spiritual and just touching people. Like I told somebody, I said, you know, I can shake someone's hand and feel that energy. And I'm making a
Absolutely.
decision right then and there. You know
Absolutely.
what? Let me back up from this. Because when I actually met you at the Kindred Presents event, you looked me right in my eye. You said, Karen, the reason why I'm talking to you is because, first of all, you're looking me in the eye. Right? And you said you have a real, genuine quality about you. And you know, I almost cried. But I had to, you know, I had to stand up and be strong. 'Cause I ain't want Bahamadia to see me like that.
Not a tear, Karen.
I know, but I was just like, wow.
It is
I'm like,
what it is.
Absolutely.
But like I said, you picked that up. Because if I was coming to you with some other BS, you'd have been like, you know what, I'll
You're
catch
not
you
gonna
later.
sell
Turn
me
the
on
back
nothing
on
that you not gonna sell me.
Right.
You just being yourself, like it, because it is what it is. It ain't gonna never be nothing but that. So you might as well just lay them out on the table. You know.
Because you're just going to get red anyway.
Exactly.
It's now or later. You want it now or you want it for later? So I have a question about Bahamadia, the producer. So I've gotten a little nosy about Bahamadia, the producer, and I really want to hear more. And I want to hear. So I know you're a DJ. So just link that for me. You know, going from DJing to production and what are you doing with that?
Well, I went from DJing to rhyming, and then as I was honing my skills throughout the years in recording, the recording process or whatever for me, I was always producing. I just didn't know the terminology and again the language. So you get exploited when you don't know, you know. So I'm near. If I'm bringing the record, this one was sampling heavy. If I'm bringing the records and laying my whole album out for you and telling you this where I want to go here and numbering it and telling you everything I need to tell you, I'm writing, doing the arrangements and doing the composition and everything like that. I don't care if I'm not if I'm delegating that responsibility and orchestrating it, then I'm producing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so once I became aware of that, that's what every project I've ever done, right on down to my artwork and everything. Because when I get my projects, I get the full vision.
Yeah.
Like first I hear it sonically, then I get a visual for it. It's just weird. It's like color, like a spectrum. Like I can see it.
Yeah, you see colors and sounds. You can arrange it. And
exactly.
Yes, art is
Absolutely.
visual art.
Yeah,
So it's all the same.
Exactly. Yeah? So when I do that, I can tell, like even my collaborations, like I know whose textures sound right. With mine, I know the instruments that sound best dropped out of what strings, and I just be knowing all that. And so but if I'm able to articulate that to you, and you mainly doing it, then we 50-50 on that production. But when the conversation becomes legal, when my lawyer get involved and everything like that, I'm difficult to work with.
Right.
Or when I shut down communication because I'm an empath and I can see you playing with me, I'm getting better with my communication.
Yes.
And one thing I know about myself, I'm honest, so you'll never get an interpretation of me that is not 100% who I am, wherever that happens to be. I'm getting better at reeling it in because just as a business person, you just gotta, I don't want to say be diplomatic, but you gotta be eloquent about the way you present yourself. And I never had nobody to back. I'm just out here. I'm just always out here.
Because it feels better when you do it yourself. Is that it?
It feels better, but it's tiresome sometimes because I realize that, for me, being in the dynamic of a team setting or team, effort is just best. It's just best because I don't have to worry about juggling all the hats.
Exactly.
And you need that time though. Like you need your time, some of your time back, and some of your stress relieved. It's like the music business for what it is. The setup is good. To have someone to take care of your business, to have someone to be responsible for your bookings, and somebody you trust, somebody who is in and trust by there's contract. That's one way to build trust. And then just like we on the same page business wise. Like we don't have to be the best of friends, but I need 10 dates in this quarter, so hook it up. I need 10 to 15 posts a week. Hook it up. I need some gear. Hook that up. You know what I mean? If you can do that, or if you can parlay that, it always just helps. I mean, even in just a regular everyday situation, when you got friends and family that'll look out for you when you need it, because I'm one that doesn't speak up when I need help. I'm always like, no, I got it. And, falling down the steps and shit with bags and all that because I don't want anybody to help me, and I've grown to be better with that. And I'm not all the way there, but
me either.
I got friends that are like, Summer, if you call me, I will drop everything that I'm doing and help you. Like, why aren't you talking to me? So
That's a process though.
It is.
Because you always say, for me, the reason why I have been like that is because the feeling of being let down takes a long time to recover from.
Right.
So I orchestrate situations to the point where it's just foolproof.
It's just me. Yeah.
It's just me. The option is just that option is going to work for me. Because I haven't never had that support. But do you get to an unhealthy place, or it just runs its course? Right. After a while, you just get tired of that, and you're like, well, you don't get tired. It just becomes tired. Yeah. And then when your energy start getting depleted and all that, you can't juggle that same thing. It's time to move on. You didn't reach the glass ceiling with that. Yeah. And I've grown to learn that it's power in being vulnerable.
Oh absolutely.
It's power in,
that's something I'm working on. That's something I'm working on because I'm like this with it, like like I'm doing the hand wrestle. I'm like I just because I at one point had vulnerability equated as a really major sign of weakness.
Absolutely.
And the older I get, I know that there's some benefits to it. However, where I get stuck on stupid about vulnerability is because when I was vulnerable, people use it against me. And that's what I don't like. I'm like, the people who I am vulnerable with, they don't use it against me. If I go outside that comfort zone, and try to develop a relationship with certain folks, and I see how they respond, you know, and they get the information, and then
Sucker.
yeah,
The snively whiplash mustache.
and that's why you're like, wait a minute, yo, you know, like it's just very weird to see how people respond to you when you're vulnerable. Like some people are very good at it, and some people aren't. Some people use that as a means to get back at you.
But see, my thing is, it's like assessing your own heart and your own spirit where you are. Like, okay, when you really look at it, how somebody treats you is how they perceive themselves.
Right.
When you really look, when you don't become reactionary, that's really what the gist of it is. And so if you laid yourself out like that and laid your whole thing down for them and they wasn't trustworthy, is that your issue or theirs?
Right.
Until you respond to it and receive it, and now you allow them to project their flaws on you. If it was genuine and you did that from your soul, and they mistreated that information and that trust, that's not your issue.
Absolutely.
But you know, next time though,
Right.
because the next time is not to take it out on the other people, but you're gonna be a little bit more cautious about exactly. That's wisdom applied.
Yep.
You know, and what's the saying? What's that old school saying? You pay for your learnings. You do. But how much would they really wind up being a blessing to you? Because if that hadn't happened to you, you wouldn't even know what to watch out. You don't know what's in your heart to you in the situation.
Yep.
You don't really know.
That
It's
is
real.
a great. Oh wow, they are a blessing. Bad things, unfavorable situations, people that hurt you, is all to expose your
Show you what you're
strength.
made of.
Or to, it's not always about exposing it. Oh, now I see you, because people make mistakes. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
It wasn't never about them. How they treat you and see you ain't none of your business.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how you. I read that
is so
somewhere.
true.
Yeah.
I love that statement.
How you
none of my
That's what
business.
how you respond
I'm
gonna tell them everything about you.
Yeah.
They don't even warrant that. They don't warrant seeing you hurt.
Peace.
Somebody told me that one time. You know, y'all know the musician Georgia Ann Muldrow.
Yes.
That's my God, man. We had the pleasure of touring in 2014.
Her. Oh,
We
my
toured.
Ann Muldrow.
I got
She's
get put
real
dig.
dope.
She sang
Yeah.
with
You like her
stuff
stuff.
on a song called Roses.
Yeah, she produced it too. I
Always
think.
equated
playing
her with
singing.
being like the Roberta Flack of the '90s.
Very dope, very dope. She I mean, to the point where she did sound designing and all that. But I had the honor of touring with her in 2014. It was real dope.
Okay.
Nice.
And we did it just US dates or whatever. And she was the one that we did a date in Chicago at the Shrine. And the promoter didn't treat, he wasn't so, professional. And I was like, yo, you can't be mistreating the whole party. If you're not treating them the way you treating me, you mistreating the whole party.
Hello.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't no headline. That's the importance of being in a collective of people that's in your community that y'all pulling the resources together. Ain't no level. The level. What's the thing? I saw a TED talk about this. How to use your
I love TED Talks.
Me too.
I love
Wallow
TED
has one
Talk.
today.
I
Shout out to
watched
Wallow.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
privilege. How to utilize your privilege. You know what I mean? Like when you assess a situation and you in a position to have an impact that's conducive to the growth and well-being of everybody in it, it rotates though. You ain't no
Absolutely.
better than me. It's just that today
It's you.
I'm at the top of the helm. Tomorrow I
Right.
might not be, but understand that. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of stuff going on. What you call that metaphysically? We
Absolutely.
experience as artists all the time, all at one time. Even this, you know what I mean? Sometimes, that's why I'm honest too in my communication, because I'm getting emotional because I really feel relieved to be around a group of women that wish the very best for me.
Absolutely.
But that support comes in unlikely times. And sometimes you have to decide to move yourself out the way and push through so you can receive that blessing.
Absolutely.
That could have been ruptured from our communication, but it wasn't, because our hearts were open to communicating and doing what we need to do to get to the day. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And that led the first initial time might not been, I might have been in my bag or you might have been in yours.
Yeah, it
but
could've
we
been-
now we so it just
would've
what the
came together
energy
when it
might have
came
been right.
together.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
It's a perfect,
You know what I mean?
like
So-
I said, perfect day.
Yeah,
Perfect day.
so just for everything, I'm just using that example because I like to talk about things that resonate with me to get to a point in case other people might understand the dynamic that you in. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're an amazing woman.
Thank you.
You are.
Renaissance woman.
Yeah, man.
Y'all know I'm the loudest thing ever, but I just had to
Yes.
sit here and stare because I'm such a hip hop nerd. It's like,
Oh, that's cool.
I know that.
are. I be looking at your joints, and me and you and Flying Lotus the only ones with the Ray-Bans too. I ain't seen nobody.
I've had these for 3 years.
I ain't mind for a while.
Drop them every
Nobody
day.
don't got me, you and Flying Lotus the only ones.
Every day.
Only
Shout out to Flying
ones.
Lotus. And I went to a concert of his back in October
He is
2014.
off the
He dope.
chain.
I was so stoned at that show. I was one of the
So it was
That's
even
the
more
atmosphere,
amazing.
though. That's
It was
the kind
awesome.
of atmosphere.
that
You know,
died out.
Georgia signed to his label.
Really? Wow.
Georgia, and she just I think she just put a project out through them.
Okay.
Maybe a month or two ago,
I'm
something
gonna
like
check
that.
that out.
Shout out to
Sounds
the
like
4
a
white
great
guys in the alley at that show. It was
'Cause
awesome.
I'm just finding out that
Thanks, guys.
that Nina Cherry just she got an album out called Broke Politics. I was like, what? Nina Cherry?
Yeah, that's
doing
dope. I
stuff?
mean, she was a colleague of Guru's.
Okay.
All
So
her
we
songs
got
just popped in my head.
I know, we got so much to ask
I know.
you.
So,
How
but we
we-
do want to
however,
honor your
for a
time.
Exactly.
Well, I do want to know. We all want to know. What are you working on now? How can we continue to support you?
Yeah.
What's up? What's going on?
Well,
Say that right here.
okay.
Tell me everything.
Well, I'm working on my project. I don't know who would know this by now. It's called Here. I've been working on it for almost like 7 or 8 years.
Word?
Because life changes. You know what I mean? My mom transitioned in 2012, so that was a whole psychological thing I had to go through. And just regrouping from that. Excuse me, my spit.
Yeah.
Just regrouping from that, and then just changing. My perspective changed about life. You know what I mean? And I like to write about things that I've actually lived. Sometimes you gotta live a little bit, and then the art. You know, art is the expression of life.
Absolutely.
So you gotta get out there and do what it do, then come back and filter that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's really what it is. But the cover art's been done. Cover art's been just. Thank God I'm prolific. Well, I like to consider myself to be prolific. So the artwork was ahead of its time too. So it's still, you
So
know,
it's perfect.
It's for what it needs to be.
When
I
do you think
so.
it may come out?
Well, first quarter now, because I got a situation. I
Ew.
just got my digital thing together. That's another thing too, like holding all them parts together. Imagine like having a team. Imagine you being like Coke or somebody like that, like a soft beverage company that was successful, and then the rug get pulled from under you when you left solo. They have to juggle all that at
All
one
those
time.
jobs. Yep.
Right.
So for some people it's a blessing, but for me it had become somewhat of a burden because there was no way possible for me to juggle all that by myself.
Right.
All of it. I mean, my publishing, and I own all my publishing on my masters except for Collage.
I just want to
And I own a portion
Me
of BB Queen, but good rap music, anything after all those
Yes.
things. You know, so imagine that, like, every time somebody holler at me to do, like, a licensing or something, like, that floodgate open up because of the legacy that's there. So I'm like, oh, not that I don't want, I do want the work. I do. But
Yes,
I'm like,
yes.
oh my God, you know, or if I toured, that's why I only did them. I did the tours and broke it up in 2 legs for the European
Yeah, I was
legacy
about to ask you
tour.
about the European tour.
That's why I did that. It was nice.
How was it?
It was awesome. Well received. It was
I saw
nice.
the
I only
video.
did my catalog stuff too.
Ooh.
That's what
my
they.
catalog
That's what they
stuff was
waiting
nice.
for. But that new stuff.
When is you going to tour here? When can we be all up
When
in
the
the front like this?
when the business is right.
Okay.
When the business is right, I'm one of them type of people. I'm not working just to be working or
Yeah.
to be visible.
Yeah,
Some
this
people
is a
get
job.
desperate, yeah, and they feel like, or some people feel like this is a sad thing. Well, a lot of seasoned artists get exploited too. They think that any promotion, they think this is the angle that they come at them at. Or well, you know, you're not working, you quiet, so this is a good look for you. How is that a good look for you?
Yeah.
Like you
When
gotta
if
take
promote
it.
Well, if you promote it right, that I'm the look. I am the look.
Absolutely.
So
As we stop just for a second, we do this at every Ladies of Hip Hop show, and we just
Get into it.
vibe out just for 2 seconds, just
Y'all,
2.
look, she be cracking me.
I mean, you,
Sing along.
you can't deny this. You can't deny this when it come on. Ho. Wait a second.
Salutes to actually the latest century for Illidale colonies to get
This is why we want you to tour, so when you do it,
We can be the
pass the mic to me. They'll be like,
Oh my God.
okay, that's right.
Crazy.
All right, bringing it back. So
We needed
got
that for a second, all right.
Yes.
I
I'm
just
hyped.
want you to know before you go, this song in particular. Like, I love every Bahamadia song, but this one right here, Bahamadia, you need to know from someone as a fan. Okay, I was like, I can't believe she did this. Like,
It was unheard of at that time. It wasn't even no.
women MCs on the map.
Hard body
Such a way-
karate.
I was like, this is like I said, this was just unreal, you
Yeah,
know, to me.
seriously.
And I just I respected that so much. And like I said, you raised the bar so high. I don't know if anybody was able to meet it.
No.
I don't think so either.
But
No.
that's called being the first fruits, again, associated back to the standard that I know that's just innate with Philadelphians, authentic Philadelphians, because we got a lot of transients that claim
Transient.
Yeah.
to be, they do. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right. Like, I'm
they
from
just
Philly
bouncing around, but you
and
not,
Connecticut.
But you
Right.
pull from the energy here, which is fine. But again, pay homage to the teachers.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But Three the Hard Way, that was because I assessed everything, was like, it's never been one done.
It was hard as
And
nails.
let me tell you all the story behind that, though.
Please, please.
When I was first of all, every song I did on Collage, you know how people used to have demos back in the day and all that. I ain't never had no demo. What was my first joint? Funk Vibe. That was the demo.
Get
I
out.
did that over the
I'll
phone.
play that.
Did that over the phone, like the arrangement and all that over the phone. There was a live pass. You know how like when they had the beats or
Drum
whatever,
pad.
and they put it in a song. No, the DJ took the records
And
I got it.
and blended them joints together, and I rhymed right there on the spot. What no, this how it was. What no, ain't no right no.
okay.
Did it on the spot, and then we needed another verse, and I had you know how you write the freestyle little rhymes,
Right, of course.
concentrated freestyles, and because they wasn't improv, they was rhymes that I had, and then went in there, did the joint live. We ain't even had no booth. The mic right there, it's right there. After we worked the
Yes.
arrangement out over the phone.
Producing.
Put that out. That went out. I ain't
Right.
get no credit for that. That went out.
Shit.
Start charting on hits and Bill or whatever the popular, not Billboard, whatever the popular Gav. Remember the Gav and all that back in the day, Jack the Rapper and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
It start
Jack the
popping in them scenes.
Yes.
And then that started a bidding war. And then Guru was dating one of my sister's homegirls from college, and I knew. Had to end the drop when they was coming to town. I was like,
Yes.
give him my tape. This
Yes.
one takes was first out.
Immediately.
She gave him. My sister gave the girl the tape. She gives it to Guru, and he liked it.
Woo!
And when he liked
History
that
from
joint,
that.
it was already popping on the radio. I was already charting and all
Right.
that.
Do
Then
y'all
this was
hear
a
this?
90.
Oh my God.
No, this was a 93. I remember that because that was like a pivotal moment in my life.
Yes.
This was.
93 was a good year.
That was a
Wasn't
good.
it?
It was a good year.
Just
My God, it was a
period.
good year.
Moved uptown, absolutely.
That was the
Yes.
joint.
Oh.
So that when that started the like a bidding war, whatever. And I went with Gangstar because I was already a fan of their music, and sonically I felt like that was the
Yeah.
best unit for me. This before I seen, you know how back in the days they had like the Source magazine, and they hit all the rappers or whatever, and take them. That was fake. Like they ain't used to know each other. Say we at the we here, and this the one of the rap joints. And then just because you in the building and you rhyme, take a picture, then we act like we real tight or whatever. After that, all right then. Like when I was in the culture shock, I thought this was a real life friends and all this. I ain't know all that.
It's an industry.
It was
Yeah.
but I wasn't
Exactly.
coached about the business of music. I was still up until I did good rap music, I was still approaching and had the perspective of this being from a hobbyist standpoint because
Right.
I love the culture so much. And I didn't even know I was being, like, my relationships and reports was being exploited. I thought these people was really riding for me.
Right.
Like, you know, of course I waive my $20,000 fee to be on your shit because I'm thinking we peoples.
Right.
Until it turned back around. And you know what I mean? I could be out here on my knuckles or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
damn, I gotta hustle to get, you know. And you on top now when you got
You know
and you say you
what?
established
You know
and you're not gonna return that look. It ain't even a favor though because I was always me.
Yeah.
Right.
But I ain't the only one with the story. I'm just one of the ones that became triumphant over that kind of
Yes.
evil.
Yes.
It's some people out here they scattered like they on drugs, they doing whatever because they don't have the fortitude. Well, I gotta attribute that to the Most High God. I really do.
Amen.
Because I wouldn't even. It's grace
Yes.
on my life that allowed me
Yes.
to be able to articulate and translate that.
There you go.
In my right mind, like who can do that?
There you go.
It's
Because the
crazy.
story is not done. Like you're still here, not just here, but you are still loving the music. You still have the flow.
That
you still
passion.
have the passion and the skills. And this next album, like everybody's waiting for this. Everybody is anticipating it. We will do our part to spread the word. But know this. You're here for a reason. Like Bahamadia.
That's why
is
the
here
album.
for a
That's why the
reason.
album is called Here. Like,
Oh!
that's why it's called that because it was like it became so many things. But and I'm gonna tell you the story about the single. Like I wrote the single.
You good on time? Because we hitting two.
Yeah.
Okay.
wrote the single in 03. Yeah. I think I wrote the single in 03 or 04. Then turned around in 08 or something. Finally got the music that went to it.
Wow.
That was done on a Fruity Loop demo from a young buck that I was mentoring or whatever, and I didn't want him to be in the trap, so I do that too. Like, I be in the hood, be all pitbull, like, because you know, Auntie just be popping up, like,
right.
You know,
Hey,
in
what
the
up?
car,
We
be like,
out.
you crazy as hell. So, like, you know, but the little boys, when you want a certain sound, going back to our sound, the identity of us has been celebrated across the board too, because our identity sonically has been
different.
It's different.
Yeah.
We got our own. That's why Meek Mill, that's one of the things why Meek Mill is so appealing, aside from his rapping skill set and all of that. It's because when he first came out, that sound he had, that was indicative of our energy for Philadelphia. That was our regional sound. That's our regional sound.
I hear that about Philly rappers all the time.
Everybody, like when you look at Houston, Bumby and them, they never abandoned their regional sound.
Never.
I remember Gilly, and you know, Gilly his energy is different now because he's moving towards more of that entrepreneur thing and his Instagram shit popping all that. But that's one of the things I loved about the figures, and Gilly in particular. He always held on to the regional energy.
He was
doing it, but now it's kind of like, no disrespect, but it's kind of like blurred the line now because it seemed like it's more on the wave of the trend that's going on, which as a business person, I understand completely. If you're operating within the context of the business of music, then you seeing it as a marketing tool. But my thing is, this thing that saddens me about artists that eventually start being totally 100% business is that the passion for the culture and the reasons why you got into the culture, you abandon them.
You can lose that.
And that's sad. You can lose it because after a while it get real. You got mortgages, you got Husky trucks, you got jewelry, you got college and shit.
And I can see a lot
25 and all that. You
can see a lot of them using
rapping like
losing it because of their deals. Like I can see a lot of them just being in deals that don't allow them to keep it. You know what I mean?
But that's understanding your leverage too at a certain time. See, I know because I haven't had the success. Now, my first album was shit platinum with no returns, but I've never had my RIAA. I still where's my plaque, people? Can y'all give me my shit?
Give her a plaque.
But I never got my plaque. Yeah, go figure.
We on our way.
Go figure. So all that is that.
Yes.
It's just crazy. That's all.
Look,
It's crazy. It's too much.
Look.
We could be sitting here all day.
Exactly. So first quarter, we looking for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you need everybody to know and hear from Bahamadia?
Dang, what do I want y'all to know from me? Because I don't care no more. I used to care, but time done kicked that all out of me.
I love that answer.
My ego and stuff, it just kicked it all out of me.
That was the best answer.
You know what I mean? But, you know, anything that y'all need to know, I guess you could look, check for me on social media and stuff like that. I'm at Queen Bahamadia on, what's it called, IG, and then at Bahamadia on Facebook and Twitter.
Bet.
And I'm on SoundCloud and all the other shit too. Y'all just gotta look. I'm out there. I'm out here.
That's right.
Around.
Oh, but my one more thing I want to talk about. My series Dialed Up, where I do the beats on the phones, and you ain't hear that?
No.
I'm gonna send y'all the links.
Please
I
do.
thought y'all knew about that.
No.
I got videos and all that. I've been doing this.
I've
been
seen the
making beats
videos.
on the phone before. I guess it's starting to become a thing now. I'm not even sure. People just couldn't even wrap their heads around it at first. But yeah, I did like
But I
2
didn't know
whole
it was
albums
a
on that joint. It's a
series,
series.
Okay.
I dropped
yes.
volume 2 with guests on there.
Oh hell yeah, we need that.
Like everybody on there, whatever. I don't even know, but that's been my focus more because everything revolves around your technology.
Absolutely.
So you know what I mean.
So people
Just
can
incorporate
find that on your Instagram page.
Yeah, I got posts up there, but you can find that on my website, bgirlrecords.com.
bgirlrecords.com.
All the links go to my Bandcamp and all that stuff. Well, you can look on it's on iTunes and all that too.
Bet.
Because now I had them deals, so they uploaded and all. It's all everywhere.
Look at you.
Thank God.
Damn.
It took me like 15 years.
It's all right.
I'm just saying, it's just so y'all know it ain't easy. Life
That's
happens
right.
too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
All
right.
that broken heart and all that shit.
Right.
You got to juggle a relationship and
Listen
it's
here.
too much. I'm
Right.
like, I ain't think about no rap. I'm hurt.
Oh Oh,
Right.
You know, but then I am thinking about rap because that's where the hurt get displayed at.
Exactly.
In a
Be like
balance,
this.
in a balanced way. Oh, crazy.
So listen.
But you know what? I'ma show y'all. Y'all gonna be the first. I'ma show y'all a sneak preview of my video. I'ma show it.
That's
when
what we need.
When we wrap up, I'ma show it.
Sneak peekery.
Sneak peekery.
I probably shouldn't even have said that on
No,
the air.
they don't know. They not gonna see it.
For the director though. But it's my video. That's right. My video. Sorry, old
We
Lisa.
just gonna look at it. We not gonna take it.
That's true. You gotta share sometimes.
That's right.
But we do spread some news. That's the interesting dynamic about like women. Did y'all notice that we at the
We
helm
do,
of
though.
Art Communications?
Yeah, that's from.
We rap, yo. We be rappity rap, don't we?
Yeah.
You get into a couple chicks, it's everywhere.
Yep. Women are the
That's
teachers.
good.
They
Like,
teach babies.
so-
That's why women are more vocal because our human
Nature
condition
teach,
is
yeah.
to teach babies they don't eat that, or that's why women when we communal. That's why we talk a
Yeah,
lot.
that's true.
So shut up,
We
guys.
the
When we say
bomb.
shut up,
Yeah,
we
shut
just
the
gotta
hell
talk. That's what we do. It's in our
Anyway.
nature.
We gotta clean up. a
No,
lot.
we're just joking.
But I want us to have
No,
a
really, shut
genuine
up.
camaraderie amongst each other, though, because I see the trend, if the so-called feminist trend, and I like what we do as far as utilizing the social media platform
Hell
to
yeah.
connect and all of that and push our agenda forward. But it shouldn't be several different agendas
Truth.
within the agenda
Right.
that we supposed to be together and
usually
pushing
African
everything forward.
Americans will have multiple agendas within an agenda. You know,
Well, that's
like,
across the board, though. I'm talking about just women networking. Like it's the go,
Yeah.
power, girl power and all of this. But secretively, you communicate,
Absolutely.
you competitive.
Right.
Secretly, you know what I mean. You exploiting our interaction. You not
Nah.
supporting where you should or where you
Right.
could and all that.
You know what?
I want that to cease. Like
I
that.
have
That's something we got to work
purposely
on.
moved past those types of relationships. I've never been in them or initiated
Me either,
them
but I
myself.
still obsessed. And I've
But
seen them.
but being around that, I can remember when I was about 20 years old and I started working for real, and ladies gossiping and all that. And this is my line, and anybody who knows me now can tell you this: I will walk up to a group of women and I say, "Y'all talking about somebody?" And they be like, "Yeah." I be like, "Peace,"
Yeah.
because I don't do that shit
At all.
Because I'll be next, and I ain't trying to be fighting at work. So bye.
I've always had to work with men, so it was just like
Different
We
kind of
always in
different kind of
completely different
conversations.
culture.
Yeah.
completely different culture.
They don't think like we think.
If your friend's being a dick, you call him a dick and tell him
Yeah.
to stop doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's right. Like
And it's
stop
okay.
doing it. Yeah.
And it's all right.
It's not like she's out to destroy me. Like,
Like shut the fuck
yeah,
up.
if you're being a bitch, stop. You know, it's okay for your friend to tell you to stop being a bitch.
Like,
just
it's your
take it.
mind.
Yeah.
I'm more on the level of if for like, okay, for instance, y'all post something or it's another collective that's doing, in the vein of what y'all doing to support, move us forward, right? As art, as women, business, all that. And if you come up and we follow each other, don't. I shouldn't just be your competitor, and I shouldn't even be a competitor. It's
At
just
all.
an
We should be
extension of
supporting each
an
other.
extension of myself. You all scrolling past. Why you can't repost my shit?
Absolutely.
Why I gotta inbox you and ask you to pay and pay? No, just the strength, that we doing the work. Now I've heard this. I'm not never paying nobody. Either you gonna support me or you not. That's always my MO.
What?
But I'm just saying, like, that kind of activity is like that energy, like that's what's
Yeah.
holding us back from getting us as our gender. That's what's holding us back from
Absolutely.
getting it.
Nah, we
You know what I
on
mean?
full blown support. Nobody pays us to do this. We don't get any, not yet. We don't have any sponsorship yet.
We're looking at the
and
wine.
that's what we're looking for. Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, with liquor and wine and beer. But this is like from the muscle and from the heart. So, when we have folks on our show, we appreciate when they, big up the show that they were on and big up Ladies of Hip Hop, because that's what we do. We're in the business of giving love to the artists that we love.
And it's the
Absolutely.
community.
for
And it's
the
the community. And it's the community, because every time, this is what I learned about newness too. Every time somebody new and they coming up and they grinding or whatever, that's where the community at right now.
Right.
The ones with the big numbers, they establishing all that stuff, but they gotta look at the people that's coming up, because that's where the movement is at.
Absolutely.
So how you gonna not know what's going on? How you gonna not make yourself accessible to the so-called little guy, the little guy keeping it popping on what's
Always.
now, on the pulse
The
of
little
what's
guy.
now.
That's the little guy.
You know what I mean? So you gotta do that.
The big guy be like,
You ain't even look, y'all.
little guy. It always happens. Like, let me steal
Because
your
it's
swag real
total
quick.
industry. This is a mixture of both now, but it's an art to mastering the balance between business and artists too.
Yep.
Because you got, a reality is you got bills to pay. So how do you do that without compromising too much of your time and yourself.
You know what? I take from a lot of different other ethnic backgrounds and friends that I have in those backgrounds. And, business is business. And I learned at a young age to just handle my business and do right business by people, because as a business person, my heart doesn't matter. My funny sense of humor doesn't matter. They want to know, am I doing right business?
Consistently.
Consistently.
Exactly.
So that was the second thing. Do good business, do it consistently.
Transparently.
And be yourself, right? Be yourself, because that's your goal right there. As long as you are you and you're doing good business, people will know you and they will like or not like you, the real you. You don't have to put on any airs or anything. Like, I could talk business and I could be in different settings, but ultimately it's the same language. Like, are you lying, cheating, or stealing from me?
Which one is it?
Yeah, which one is it? And then I'm done with you. So, I mean, in our game and what we do is all about support. It's all about love. And it is about unity. It's about ladies love hip hop. Like, we need a voice too.
Absolutely.
We love this shit. This is not about just female MCs and female. No, it's just from our perspective.
Exactly.
That's the only perspective we have. Yeah,
Yeah, so, listen.
That's what we wanted you to know too.
Girls like rap
even
too.
though you were
No.
aware of why we started this was because Summer and I used to have these talks. We will always meet up at concerts, right? And you would see all these women from various backgrounds, okay, supporting our favorite artists. And like, I'll give you a prime example. One of my good friends, she is a psychologist, She's a mom, she's a wife. She goes to church. She was front row recently at Diamond D's show at the Voltage, okay? Singing along with Diamond D so well that he looked at her and he was like, okay, like, what's going on? So he was so happy, okay, like, to
That's
see
what I'm
that.
saying.
And so the reason why we talked about this, we were like, we feel like we're kind of like in a marginal place, where people want our money, but they don't understand the connection that their music has to so many different types
That's
of
because
people.
it's men, though. That's
Yep.
because it's men trying to pinpoint that, or they don't think it's valuable.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
That's
we're
like
here to
ageism
meet
too.
them.
Like a lot of people that's hitting the 50 mark and stuff like that. But you gotta understand, these was the people that was the support base for all the stuff that's
Right.
classic now.
Absolutely.
So these people are politicians now. These people are principals now. These people psychologists now. They
got
had
ears.
interchange and all that back in the day. though.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Particularly our generation, that's why I said we the liaison in between. It's like,
And we gonna keep it like that.
yeah.
Still
We gonna
growing.
keep it like that.
Especially with the Joey Badasses and different people now that's Gifted Gab and Blam and all them people that's now trying to they're trying to do their best to preserve the cultural aspects of MCing from a traditional standpoint.
Yeah. Right.
I don't care what, some people are, they sound like so and so, but you're not giving them no type of mentoring. You're not making yourself accessible to them. You
Right.
bitter. Because your time done passed, but really it hasn't, because your time hasn't passed if you
you
connect
dead.
with the youth and
Exactly.
y'all can exchange that energy and y'all collab and all that.
You old when you dead.
Exactly. So,
How about it? That's what my dad says all the time.
Okay.
He does. You old when you dead.
Bridging
I'm
them
not old.
generational gaps through hip
yeah,
hop.
exactly.
Absolutely. So that's what we're doing here at Ladies Love Hip Hop. We thank you.
This was awesome, y'all.
We
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
much.
Glad a nice
I can relax now. Woo!
I know, right?
The first thing I'm doing.
No, we wanted to give you.
Yeah.
We really wanted to give you your verbal,
Flowers.
and physical roses.
Yes.
Now because, when I think about the Grammys and all of that, I'll usually be upset because I'm like, it's going towards popularity. But if I had my own award show, it would go towards content and quality.
Absolutely.
And so we're giving you the Ladies Love
Ladies Love
Hip Hop Award.
Oh, thank you. Thank y'all.
Remaining a consistent standard, okay, of hip hop and being someone that, women can be inspired by and aspire to be.
Even if they don't acknowledge it. Even if they try to erase or, imply revisionism tactics or whatever, because I know who I am. And I know that no matter what you do, you cannot erase what God ordained. And the truth is sustainable.
Absolutely.
So even in that, when I see my influence, whether you acknowledge it or not, and that's in male and female.
Hello,
You know
gentlemen.
what I mean? When I see that, I'm like that's inspiring for me to keep going. I was like, oh no, I don't have to throw the towel in. They want a XYZ or they got a Grammy for that.
Right.
let me get
Right.
My hard job is to move myself to present myself in a general way so it's palatable to the listener. Because if you too much me, you got 12 songs or 10 now. You only need like 5 or 7 now because people streaming. So people don't be doing no 15 songs.
Shit, they don't have the attention span for it.
Yeah, I know.
You might get a good quick 10. You might get 7. I don't know. And then, but I'm saying it to say like when you listening to it, it's like, all right, let me just present myself. Let me do my interpretation of how I see things now.
Yeah.
That's a bar right there. I don't be giving out my trade secrets, but I don't care because sometimes you learn things so somebody else is listening that's on a hamster wheel but trying to sort it out and they got something important to contribute. So in that aspect,
So you better take that, Jim.
Yeah, exactly.
You better take it and polish
I ain't the only
it.
one. So
Look.
you could do this all day, y'all.
I know. All right, I'm going to sign it out. Listen, ladies. Mook, any last final words?
You already know what it is. Get with the shits.
Okay. Karen, final words.
Thank you, Bahamadia.
Thanks for having me. Y'all crazy.
Oh my God.
On a Sunday fun day.
And we want to thank Lawrence Arnell for this lovely video.
Thank
Hi.
you.
How are you? Nice lights, very bright. Look this way. And as usual, I'm always giving thanks. I'm so blessed and so happy to be here with my girls and with you, Bahamadia.
Thank you.
So for me, Summer Willow.
And this is Karen.
We are the ladies who love hip hop. Stay tuned for the next interview and keep it hip hop.